If you want to scare your friends, invite them over and stay up late and read scary stories to them. This is the book to do it with. It's called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. The stories in this book by Alvin Schwartz are supposed to be read with your friends. If you want to have some fun by scaring your friends, you can tell them the story about the mighty Doe Walker. It starts like this. There was a haunted house where every night a bloody head fell down the chimney. At least that's what people said. So nobody would stay there overnight. Then a rich man offered $200 to whoever would do it. And this boy said he would try if he could have his dog with him. So all was settled. The very next night, the boy went to the house with his dog. To make it more cheerful, he started a fire in the fireplace. Then he sat at the front of the fire and waited. His dog waited with him. For a while, nothing happened, but a little after midnight, he heard someone singing softly and sadly off in the woods. The singing sounded something like this. Mighty Doe Walker. It's just somebody singing, the boy told himself, but he was frightened. I won't ruin your surprise by telling you what happens with the boy and his dog, but I will tell you that this is a make your friends jump story, and that, I mean, your friends will jump with fright in the end. There are poems like Don't Ever Laugh When a Hearse Goes By, and Schwartz also gives you helpful hints on how to make the story even scarier. And if one of your friends says, "There's no way you can scare me," well, tell them the story about the girl who stood on the grave. Here's how it begins. Some boys and girls were at a party one night, and there was a graveyard down the street. They were talking about how scary it was. "Don't ever stand in the grave after dark," one of the boys said. "The person inside will grab you, and he'll pull you under." "That's not true," said one of the girls. "It's just a superstition." "I'll give you $1 if you stand on the grave." "What would you do?" "I know what I would do. Ask your friends what they would do." Another book that really is fun at a sleepover is one that takes place in the Piedmont area. It's called Ghost Tales from the North Carolina Piedmont. Linda Duck Tannenbaum and Barry McGee are the writers and detectives who put together these stories about haunted houses and haunted places right here in North Carolina, like Lydia's Underpass. In this story, the story is called Lydia Again. Lots of people have seen this ghost girl when they drive along on the highway between High Point and Greensboro. The authors investigated the people and their stories, and they found out about this girl named Lydia who was always seen on an underpass along the highway. They put all the evidence together and they tell us this whole creepy story. In this book, all the ghosts seem to be stuck in a house or a place because something happened to them there. Some ghosts can be scary and some can be just irritating, like the ones in the Ghosts That Like to Party. I'll share a bit with you. You see, there was this husband and wife named Lottie and John, and they lived in this house, and all of a sudden, these lights were going on, and they had a really expensive lighting bill. They couldn't understand why. Well, one night, they were coming home, and they saw some lights all of a sudden. But when they got into the house, there was no lights anymore. Just then, they got a phone call from the neighbor lady who lived in the same street. This is the conversation when Lottie spoke on the phone to her neighbor Anna. "Lottie, this is Anna, across the street. I know we haven't been neighbors long, and I hate to be a complainer, but your teenagers are out of control." "Our teenagers?" said Lottie. "Well, I assume they're teenagers. Anyway, when you leave the house, they have these loud parties." "Parties? Teenagers?" Lottie was thoroughly confused. "I admit I never really see any of them," said Anna, "so maybe it's just your kids letting off steam, playing loud music, turning on all the lights. Anyway, It's very disturbing. I hate to complain, but... Anna, Lottie interrupted. We don't have any teenagers. We don't have any children at all. Can you imagine a ghost in your house when you're gone, turning on all the lights and playing with your stuff? I wonder if Lottie and John can help them, or if they're just going to have to learn to live with them. These tales are just the beginning of spooky and strange ghost tales you can share with your friends in the book called Ghost Tales from the North Carolina Piedmont. Now, when your friends leave, and you haven't slept all night, and you find you're kind of tired, yet kind of excited about how much fun you just had with your friends, well, maybe it's time to curl up with just one more book, just for yourself. Relax, curl up in your comfy jammies or robe, and laze away your tiring night. Well, I'm not sure this is it, but even if it isn't, it is a fun, spooky book to end your night. It's guaranteed to give you goosebumps. This is a really creepy story called Curse of the Creeping Coffin by R.L. Stine. Since you are the main character in the book, you get to decide what happens. It's a story about how you go to stay at your grandmother's house for a few days. Her house is right next to a cemetery, and you can see the graveyard out of her back windows. It's so close, it's basically in the backyard. A cemetery doesn't have to scare you, but when you see the tombstones and ghosts in your grandmother's house, you get a little nervous. In this book, you get to decide the whole story. You get to pick what happens next at many points along the way. For example, you go and spend the night at your best friend's Robin and his older brother's house. So far, everything just seems normal. Lark is having a sleepover party. His friends are in 8th grade. They think they are way cool. And they are, until 9 o'clock. And suddenly, all the lights go out in the house. Hey! Lark yells at you and Robin. Quit playing with the circuit breakers, you little twerps, or else! Uh-oh. You didn't touch the circuit breakers. Neither did Robin. And his parents aren't home. That's right. It's the ghost. And all the lights are out. What do you do now? Well, if you're afraid of the dark, you can turn to page 83 in the book. If you're okay in a pitch black house, turn to page 19. It's really fun. You can decide the way the story ends, and your choices lead to 20 different spooky, scary endings. What will you choose? One choice is obvious. Get all 3 books. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, Ghost Stories from the North Carolina Piedmont, and Goosebumps, The Curse of the Creeping Coffin. And I bet you and your friends will have scary, good fun.